All right, then. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of Tier-2, the IRC Season 7 Championship. I'm joined with ATL in the com box. ATL, how are you? What's up?
I'm doing good, very good, Moto. Returned to the commentary box after a while. It's been a while, so I might be a little rusty, but excited to see what's going to be on offer today as we head to Mexico for round 6 of the championship.
Absolutely. A very dynamic track with a lot of high speed and low speed sections. Its strategy as well, very integral to get right here. But yeah, it's looking up to be a very exciting race, actually.
Yep, definitely looking forward to it. And I think we can go ahead and hop into the track guide.
Yeah, absolutely. All right then. Hola amigos and welcome to Autodrama Hermanos Rodriguez. Now heading to turn 1, we're going to be heading for quite a long time as it's one of the longest straights on the calendar. Make sure you watch out for the DRS board on the left. Open it for those extra Ks you will need for overtaking on this track. Now for turn 1, you want to brake just before the 100-meter board. Compromise the exit of 1 and 2 to get the right line for 3 and slingshot the car onto the second straight. Make sure you open the DRS again. And for turn 4, you want to stick the car to the right-hand side, braking just before the 100-meter board. Compromise the exit of 4 to get the right line for 5. Make sure you're extremely careful on throttle as it's all very low speed. The double apex of 6 and 7 is also very tricky as the car does get very loose in the rear. For 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you want to be gliding from apex to apex. Make sure you keep the minimum speed high up and mount those curves as aggressively as possible as they aren't very serrated. Now for turn 12, you want to brake just after the curb starts on the left, using all the curb on the exit as well. For the hairpin, braking just before the black box on the right. Make sure you compromise the exit of the hairpin to get a great flow through this remaining part of the sector. Stick to the right hand side to minimize the distance traveled to the line, and that completes it.
So yeah, we just saw a quick hot lap there from Oxygen. Absolutely electric lap from him, left nothing on the table. And we've already identified some of the key overtaking points. I think Sector 1 is going to be pretty crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. Sector 1 with that massive back straight, not back straight, the main straight, heading down. I think it's one of the longest on the calendar, and it could be a hotspot for overtaking, but also the run down to turn 4, I think, which is just before the Sector 2 split, is another one.
Before we head on to the on-track action, let's have a quick look at how the championship stands. So we see Solo in the McLaren is leading the standings as it stands after 5 rounds. Paris in P2 and Alphabot in P3. Fellow Williams boys, I'm a little happy there. Banat, the newest addition to the IRC roster, holding strong in P4. Not that far behind the leaders, actually. A win today could really propel him up the standings in the championship. Abhi, young driver FA, Shivam, and the order goes on. And a couple of drivers at the bottom there have not really given a strong showing, but Mexico could be their opportunity. You never know.
Absolutely. It's shaping up to be an exciting race. Solo does lead the way by quite a lot of points, but, racing, anything can happen. So let's wait and watch, I guess.
Yep. And Aston Martin are in the lead in the Constructors' Championship. So
that is interesting because they aren't even in the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship. So
yep,
consistency is key, I guess.
And there's only 1 point separating Aston Martin and McLaren at the top in the constructor standings. So pretty close stuff there. So a lot of stuff to keep an eye out for in this race.
Absolutely. And I think we should head on to qualifying. I think the drivers are readying up in their lobbies right now.
Should be an interesting showing. I think we have 15 drivers on display today, so it should be pretty interesting. And it's going to be very crucial to see how well the drivers qualify, because qualifying is very crucial around Mexico. I think you can testify to that.
Absolutely, it's a dirty FS, especially the S's in Sector 2. It's so hard to follow in real life and in the game as well. So yeah, qualifying is integral here, but there's also the strategy to point out as well, because if you have a tire advantage, you can gain heaps and heaps of time on the driver ahead. So it'll be interesting as to what tires the drivers choose in qualifying.
Speaking of the tires, I guess we can talk about the optimum strategy as well. It is a soft, medium, soft. It is a two-stop strategy, but if you are brave enough and if you are skilled enough, you can probably pull off a one-stop as well with a soft hard. But are you going to take that risk? Let's have a quick look at the weather forecast. Seems to be a cloudy qualifying and a cloudy race. No real chance of any kind of weather change there. So I think the drivers will probably be. I don't know. I've generally been under the belief that racing drivers like dry weather because it's easier to drive. But I've been told that wet conditions make for more fun driving experience. So I don't know. I've never really understood.
Yeah, I mean, wet weather driving is it's pretty challenging. I mean, normally because first you have that everything is slowed down, so you have to be more finesse. You have to show more finesse in the braking and the throttle, and it's all just slowed down. So you have to be really careful on the throttle and braking. So yeah, I get what you mean.
I mean, regularly I've heard F1 drivers in real life, and not only F1 drivers. I've talked about motorsport except MotoGP, because it's the risks, the odds are obviously much higher there. But generally in four-wheel motorsports, let's say, drivers enjoy wet driving, and also brings out some good closer racing. Obviously, there's less of an advantage in terms of mechanical grip and in terms of car advantage, when kind of a leveling field, if you will. I think even this year we saw George Russell out-qualify Hamilton at Spa in the wet. So
absolutely, it's wet weather. At least in real life, it's a great equalizer for the grid, because it brings out the driver's innate ability more than it would do in the dry, as we
currently seem to be having a technical issue, which we will sort out as soon as possible. Qualifying should be getting underway any second now, as the dry conditions will mean we're just going to see pretty much a time attack kind of situation as we do get into qualifying. Only 10 drivers currently in the session, that we should see the grid rounding itself out towards the end of qualifying.
As we go on board a Ferrari on his outlap, Sector 3, it's so mechanical. It's all low grip, and he's on the mediums, interestingly enough, as I had noted, because of the variance in strategy on this track. A lot of drivers could be going for that, but seeing how there are only 10 drivers on the grid, I'm not quite sure as to why they would choose to do that. As he approaches turn 4, he's got the DRS open, and I think Jaggs is a new driver on the grid. I'm not sure if you could quote me on that, HCL.
Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a technical issue on my side. Hopefully I didn't miss too much.
Nothing much. It's just I think Jaggs is a new driver on the grid, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
the
he's
Ferrari.
a reserve driver that was recruited for this race alone. I think he was one of the reserve drivers. He was given a choice of seat, so he's chosen to pick up that Ferrari seat. And I think the Ferrari drivers will be indebted to him, because there's neither of them are driving in this race. So I think
indeed. But that is interesting. And Solo goes P professional pole. Well, he's the only driver to do so with a 17.3. Speaking of which, I think the times around here would be a high 16 or maybe a mid 16. As well, Abhi's gone into the mid 16s already, so that's
He's
gone out of the window.
setting the pace early on, and we're going to see quite a bit of track evolution as well. So we could see the time dropping into the 16s. Is the 15s off the cards? I'm not sure.
15s could be possible, maybe a high 15s, but let's see. Track evolution, as you said, is very like accentuated on a track like this where it's all mechanical. But yeah, qualifying is so integral to get right here because you don't want to be stuck behind the dirty air of the car in front. So I'm pretty sure the drivers will be doing multiple laps and trying to use all the time in the session to do as many laps as possible. As the track is ramping up, Paras in the Aston Martin goes provisional pole with a 15.6.
Not much separating the two of them actually. Oh wow, never mind. There's a lot separating the two of them actually. Damn, that nearly a second between the two of them. I was wondering how's he's gone. He's done a. I thought he did a 16.6.
Oh, is that a 15.6? Oh, my bad. Because I thought I was a 16.
So currently there's 4 seconds or roughly 3 seconds separating the 4 times on the board. Banat using to set his first time of the session on the medium tires.
Well, this session is a complete contrast to the. I think it was Monza where the grid was so incredibly close in qualifying. So that's interesting to note.
I mean, the drivers have got 12 minutes to improve their time, so maybe we might see less variation towards the end of the session. As we see Monk rounding the final corner here, this is his first push lap, I believe, so we'll get an idea of what his pace is like around the track as he crosses the line, and there's a 1:17.7, so there is a room for improvement there, definitely.
Absolutely. Interesting to note that Abhi in the Red Bull has done 2 consecutive laps in the soft tire. I'm not sure that's a good idea because considering how high the tire deck is, but it'll be interesting to see if he's going to put on a fresh boot and get a new lap in because you do not want to be starting on worn tires here.
That sector 2 is an absolute tire. What's the word I'm looking for? Tire mincer, let's say.
Yeah, you could call it that. It's
it eats rubber, so it's important to get your fast lap out in either your first or second lap. Ideally not your out lap because that's your chance to warm up your tires, but obviously the first or second push lap should be the ideal one because after that your delta does start to fall off a bit. As we see Freeman really pushing the track limits, maybe pushing it a bit too far as he invalidates the lap, but currently sitting in P4 on a set of medium tires, so actually a pretty good time relative to the other drivers.
Yes, that is a very good time, but I'm pretty sure the drivers will be putting on the softer compound and passing him because it seems the delta between the mediums and the softs is quite a lot here. It's around 7/10 if I'm not wrong. But yeah.
Abhi on those 3-lap pole softs has improved his time by about 6/10, so it is an improvement, but don't know how much more improvement he can extract as we come past the first sector line. Will he be up on his own time? Wow, he goes purple. Damn, he really seems to be extracting every ounce of that soft tire.
I mean, what I'm guessing he's doing right now is he's learning the track as he's going along and getting a few laps in on a higher fuel load. But even then, it's impressive to say the least as how he's managed to extract that time from the car on those worn tires. But
I mean, learning the track and getting pole position. As he completely runs wide, but somehow the game doesn't seem to. I guess he's lost more time than he's gained.
Yeah, he lost around 3/10 on his delta there, and this is where the tires are crying by the end of the lap. You have this low speed section, and underneath the grandstand, it's all mechanical grip oriented, so you need everything from the tires there, and he comes into the pits.
I think Abhi went a bit too early looking for the pit entry and finding just a wall there, and he had to drive it.
So he is learning the track and even the pit entry, I guess.
He saw a white line pop up, then he comes around the corner and the white line disappears. He's like, where am I supposed to go? Anyway, we see Warhammer come across the line. P3, the best he can muster right now, a 16.5. So that was basically Abhi's time on his first push lap. So there is quite a little bit of a rift between the drivers, but we're seeing the times tumble as the session goes on. 10 minutes left in the session now.
Absolutely. And as we go on board solo here, who is the championship leader as we've seen before? He's gliding from apex to apex. You want to be aggressive but not too aggressive on the curbs because you will churn up your tires and, well, track limits as well. And he's 8 tenths down.
He is improving on his own personal best, so we might see him maybe move up above Warhammer, but it won't be enough to clinch pole at this current time. And he loses out of the final corner, and he's out of the qualifying session entirely. Solo is retired coming across the final corner, just pushing a little bit too hard, taking a little too much slip angle.
And point in case, your tires are crying, and the last corner is so hard to get the power down, even on a fresh set of boots. And it just goes to show how tricky this circuit is when it comes to managing your tires and being not too eager on the throttle, I should say.
So we've seen one driver succumb to the tire eater that is the Mexico circuit. So we'll go ahead and see how many other drivers can seem to improve on their tires, as we see Jaggs or Juggs, not quite sure how to pronounce his name. I'm calling him Jaggs just for convenience, let's say. He's put himself up into P3.
That's an impressive lap from the rookie, if you will. But P2, Abhi is interesting to note, has gone on to a fresh set of mediums. So is he confident that he can beat that soft time on the harder compound? I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to do it.
I think if he does, then his learning of the track is very accelerated. I'd say he's learning at a rapid pace. Banat still leaving some time on the table of 1:16.1. He seems to maybe lose time in every single sector. Currently on board with Monk, but Banat does have a point to prove. He is slipping down the championship very slowly. He did pick up a race victory at Spa, I believe, but I think that was unfortunately chalked off for desync issues. But yeah, he does have a point to prove, and the only way he can retake this championship lead is if he puts on a masterful performance today, as Paris does invalidate the lap coming into sector 2.
That's a pity. He was up on his time, and also Paris has really blitzed the field, for now at least. He's what, 3 tenths ahead of everyone else, at least in P2. So impressive performance from the Aston Martin driver.
I think one driver who we're currently not seeing on the Tier 2 grid, as Monk goes very deep through the last turn there, is young driver FA, who has actually been quickly promoted up the ranks. He's, I think, a Tier 1 reserve at this point. So
yeah, I think he's I think in USA he kind of got a really dominant victory, and the coordinators saw that and, okay, you're fit for Tier 1 now, and they put him in Tier 1. As Abhi is really struggling on those mediums. You could see him squirming around the high-speed section, so his tire is not really biting into the asphalt as he would want it to. But yeah,
I think this could be just Abhi exploring the performance of the medium tires. Maybe if he hasn't put in much practice coming into the race weekend, this is him just exploring how the medium tires feel and how they last in the race, or how much of a pace difference there is between the mediums and the softs. So definitely if you don't put in any prior practice, then the 15 minutes or 16 minutes that you get during quali is your practice. So
absolutely, and I think you're absolutely spot on, because he was 4 seconds down in his delta, which is admittedly what the race pace should be around, if I'm not wrong, in the medium. So yeah, I think he's put on some heavy fuel loads and gone for a race stint in qualifying, which is a bit of a interesting decision to make. But
I think he's comfortable with where he's qualified based on what he's doing in the qualifying session as it currently stands. But yeah, even if he does qualify in the top 10, he won't be allowed to use those medium tires as everybody in the top 10. But currently everyone on the grid has to start on the softs. There is no strategy variance unless they're out for the top 10.
Absolutely, and not only that, he is going to be at a disadvantage because I think his lap was on 3-lap-old soft tires because he was doing consecutive laps. So I think he should put on a fresh set of softs, otherwise there's no point being in P2 with 30% worn tires,
Yep, he's going to have a massive disadvantage getting off the line, and we know how important it is to get a start around here. You lose the lead and you essentially lose that clean air, and clean air is the difference maker here. As we see, Lal is the only driver not to have set a lap in qualifying, come across the line and stays there. He is quite a bit off the pace though, nearly 4 seconds off the pace, but I think that was his first lap, so he'll get a chance to improve here. coming down to turn 1. DRS open. That's going to be the main overtaking point right there.
Absolutely, like we saw in the real life Grand Prix as well. Verstappen, who's in P3, got like a mega tow from both the Mercs and swooped around the outside of both of them. So
I think one thing that we also saw in real life was there were quite a few safety cars. Is there a possibility that we'll see safety cars today?
I mean, there are 10 drivers in the grid. I think it's a bit low, but anything can happen. And mostly in Tier 2, we've been seeing a lot of clean races. I think Baku is an exception where we got, if I'm not wrong, 4 safety cars. But yeah, we might see 1 or 2.
And it's going to be interesting to see then as we come into the final 3.5 minutes of qualifying as Freeman sets the second. It did say he set the fastest lap, and then Paris came across the line and improved again on his time. No,
I think Paris is still 6:55. I think that's his old time as well.
I think that was a personal best from Freeman, though, as he comes across the line for 4/10 off pole position still. But Abhi has been moved down to P3, and he does move over. He does pit again, possibly to switch to a new set of softs, but I think this might be the current fitted tire, and it does say that he's on the soft that he ran in his first stint. So
I think that's an error made by the Red Bull driver.
He is going to start on those tires. Good luck on the restart, my friend.
Oh God.
He is coming out on the same set of softs again.
Yeah, that's the mistake he's made. He's forgot to switch the tires for his second run on the soft.
I really was hoping that was the lap set on the faster time set.
But it seems he's gone out on the same set, and that could be curtains for the Red Bull driver in terms of restart. But yeah, it's too early to tell. You could get a lap on safety car and incidents and all, but still,
he is definitely seeing something that we don't see yet.
Maybe he's really good on the tires. I guess he's getting his tires keep getting better, as Perez once said.
Well, tire masters are going to be required around here with the amount of tire leg.
Yeah.
As we see a cheeky little tow from the Mercedes drivers here, well organized by them. A7 Warhammer helping out his teammate Lars as they come through Sector 1 into Sector 2 now. Eating a lot of the curb, might have actually been to his detriment as he gets pushed wide a little bit on the exit.
Yeah, you do not want to be touching those curbs. They will put you offline, but it seems as his teammate was hampering him rather than helping him, because you do not want to be following a car and that's part of the track because of the dirty air.
I think if there's any place where the tow does make sense, it's through Sector 1 and only Sector 1, because Sector 2 and 3 are very mechanical group dependent.
Absolutely. And Banat, I think this is going to be his final lap. He's absolutely ravaging those curbs as you would to maximize the lap time. And opening DRS into turn 4 now, you want to be on the right hand side. Sacrifice the exit for the next corner, as it's instantly, you're faced with it. And then this double apex right hander, you want to just swoop the car around the outside. Now approaching this S section.
Yep.
You want to be gliding from apex to apex, cutting all the curb on the inside of each apex, and then slingshot the car into this very, very short DRS straight here. And it looks neat and tidy so far, and he's gone purple in Sector 2. This is a stonking lap.
5/10 up on Paris, who's currently in P1. Will Banat be able to put that glistening Alpine on pole position as he rounds the final corner? Important to get a good exit here. Can get a little bit squirmy as he does put it on pole by a massive, not a massive margin. Yeah, it is a massive margin. Quite
3/10 is quite a lot on a short circuit as this, but that last sector is where you can gain and lose the most amount of time, because again, tires are screaming at that point. But massive lap from the Alpine driver as we see Warhammer get a bit of Tokyo Drift action going on. And coming across into the final corner, you want to stick to the inside, minimize the distance to the line, which he does not choose to do, and it's a 16-4.
16-4, so currently about a second and a bit off the pole time. We see Abhi filtering through Sector 2 on 4 lap old softs. Abhi, if you are thinking of a strategy, we clearly haven't fathomed it yet. as he comes through the stadium section. Tight, narrow, full of noise. Very easy to get distracted here in real life, not so much in the game. Rounds the final corner. This will be his last attempt at improving. He is down in all three sectors by the looks of it on his previous time.
Oh,
But
I think Warhammer was going purple there in Sector 1.
on his cooldown lap, interestingly.
What's going on there then?
Well, I think regardless of what Warhammer was up to there in Sector 1, I think qualifying is... Oh, no, we do have Lals. Lals is the only driver currently on track. He has
Misses
gone
his apex by quite a margin there. And he is
down
out of...
on his first...
Yeah. Well, I mean, the telemetry says he's 100% on charge, but his lights are flashing, so I'm not sure if it's right. And he's losing his tires there as he got a bit squirmy on exit, and he's 3.8 down.
Well, he is down on his personal best in sectors 1 and 2, and I don't see it improving through sector 3 either as he runs very, very wide. I think this will be straight into the pits for Lals here unless he chooses to come across the line. Okay, he will come across the line. He'll finish qualifying. He doesn't improve much, however, though, as he's nearly 5 seconds off the pace of Banat, who is your pole position holder.
Yeah, well, it was a really fantastic lap from the Alpine driver. And I think the Sector 3 was not the fastest, but still, Sectors 1 and 2 were on point for the Alpine driver there.
Yep, and he was a little bit squirmy as well, Banat, coming through sector at the end of sector 1, tail end of sector 1. So yeah, definitely might have been another 10th or 2 on the board there, but that's the end of qualifying. And Lals has left the session right as qualifying ends. But yeah, Banat is your pole position holder with a 1:15.3, blinding lap from Banat. His index
And yeah, so here's your grid for tonight's race. Banat stonking lap from the Alpine driver in P1. 3 times behind is the Aston Martin of Paras. And then Freeman, Banat's teammate, so good haul for Alpine if they could keep it together in the race as well. And
I think it was Abhi in P4.
Yeah, Abhi in P4, and then P5, I think it was... I don't remember anymore.
P5 was Rambo, P6 was... Well, we'll see the starting lineup anyway. Well, there you go. P5 was Rambo, P6, Warhammer, Jaggs, Monk, Solo, and Lals to round off the top 10.
Interesting. I think Alpine have... they're on point for... on goal for a lot of points today in tonight's race, because P1 and 3, if they could keep it together. But, yeah. Solo has a lot of work to do if he wants to. I think he'll still keep the lead in the championship, even if Banat finishes P1 and he finishes P9. But yeah,
a lot of fanboying going on in the chat. We see a lot of Banat fans, a lot of Paras fans. Everybody's having a good time, and then eccentric with the Manchester United comments. Of course, man, we live rent free. Yes, we're just waiting for the server to line up here. As you see, one of the audience members waving a Finnish flag. This is the Indian racing community. Don't worry, you are in the right place. To get the race started very soon.
Well, I've seen some Indian flags in the game as well, even though there's not an Indian driver. So
#represent, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the Indian flags are in game because if players play with Jay Andaruwala in F2, then obviously you need to have some flags flying in the crowd for him, a support for him, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, after F2 was added. But yeah, we are just getting ready for the race, and so main point, I guess, Abhi is gonna be one to watch out for. On the start, he might be dropping down a few places, but let's see if he keeps it together.
One to watch for that comeback drive, I guess.
Yeah, it could be a Checo drive coming back from the... Well, he's not at the back of the grid, but he will be, I'm guessing, after a few laps. But yeah.
I think also Banat didn't use many sets of soft tires. I think he just used 2 sets. Just went for a banker lap, set himself up, and then got an idea, then went out again, and then set that absolute blinder of a lap that got him pole position. So, yeah, pretty brief. Hopefully, it didn't feel like too long, but sorry for that brief technical mishap. We should be back now, and we should be ready to go racing in any time soon. Hopefully, my co-commentator is still here as well. Moto, haven't fallen asleep yet, right?
No, I'm still up here waiting for the race. It's shaping up to be a good one. I mean, there's no reason to go away.
Uh, what we're basically seeing in the background here is what we're expecting in the race, a massive DRS train, basically everyone in each other's DRS. And I think turn one is going to see the most action. And I think we've also got Evil Dog in the commentary box now. Regardless, we should be going anytime soon. Just to refresh your memory, Banat is on pole position, but all eyes will be on the man starting in fourth because he's starting on quite old tires, and I think he's the only one in the top 10 who is starting on older than one lap old softs. So it's going to be interesting for Abhi to see what happens.
Absolutely, but he has two sets of softs at his disposal in the race now. But yeah, that is only if a safety car is called for. But yeah, he will be looking to bounce at that opportunity any second. But yeah.
I think it's definitely counting on one because otherwise it doesn't make any logical sense to keep that extra set of softs like ready to go. It doesn't strike me as the kind of guy to sabotage himself. He's definitely a strong contender, so it doesn't seem like he would do this.
Yeah, it's a very well, I mean, you could call it a rookie mistake as you're new to the game, but yeah, it's I've done it before long back when I forgot to change the set of tires and got on the same one for once and well,
I think I
flubbed my lap.
think I think both could be considered as rookie mistakes. Basically, burning through 4 or 5 sets of softs just because you can't get a clean lap in, or also doing 15 or 15 attempts, but 4 or 5 push laps on the same set of softs. So, seeing the weather forecast, and it was cloudy before, and it's definitely dry now in the race.
Absolutely, and the formation lap is underway, and well, I guess all the drivers are going to be starting on their qualified tires. If we could just go to the tire thing. And we have we have 2 disqualifications already in the formation lab. That is interesting.
BK19 and DWAJIN have joined in just after qualifying. They didn't set a qualifying lap, so they've joined in at the end, and they've both gone for a set of medium tires, which I think might be a bad decision in retrospect.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna like the pace advantage will last at least I think 3 or 4 laps, and then well, no, actually, the mediums would actually last do a pretty good. It's a very good race tire over here because the softs will. Their pace advantage will last at max of like 3 to 4 laps, so the mediums could be faster, but yeah.
In that initial period of 4 or 5 laps, they'll be losing a massive amount of time, though. So it's about how well they can keep up. But I think they can benefit from the DRS, which some of the drivers ahead may not be getting.
That is true. Yeah. And they could also, well, I mean, I don't want to jinx anything. They could take advantage of any chaos which is happening in front to make their way up the grid. But as we see, Banat rounding the final corner and getting ready to place his car on the grid. So, well, also to note, the 2 drivers which have been disqualified for the formation lap for getting a bit too touchy-watchy with each other, their tires will be crying for temperature at the start. What do you think?
I think by the time Sector 2 comes around, the tires will be wishing they would have stayed on the grid boxes a little longer because we are just about getting ready to go here, and it's going to be a hectic 36 laps around the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez. As we see the final drivers lining up on the grid, 12 drivers take to the grid today, and it should be lights out in just a bit as we see the countdown begin. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go for the round 6. The Mexican Grand Prix is underway. Banat gets a decent start. Banat right on his diffuser though. Weaving up and down the straight. Banat just to break the toe. Moving all across the large pit straight. Paras will have the inside line going into turn 1, but that means Banat will have the inside line going into turn 2, and he does retain the lead as there is action behind him. Rambo and Freeman exchanging positions. Abhi has dropped behind. but Abhi makes up the position immediately. Freeman getting pushed wide, and now it's a drag race down turn 4. Ooh, little bit of contact.
It seems Abhi's managed to get a decent enough start, and he's up to the podium places as well, even on those worn tires. Well, actually, you know what? The lobby restart has favored him here because he's got a set of fresh tires now. So all that has been thrown out of the window, it's here.
I think everyone's strategy is basically a reset right now. Also, BK19 has gotten an absolutely mega start. As Banat is retired from the session,
The race leader is gone.
the race leader has lost it coming through sector 2.
Could we get the
And
track
that
map on, please? Yeah.
That will be a big disappointment. Yes, you can see on the just at the beginning of sector 3, he's lost it. Oh dearie me. As Paris comes across the line to set the fastest lap of the session, that's not very representative. We see Abhi weaving like mad there to keep Rambo behind him at all possible costs, and Paris has already pulled out a second gap as Solo dives into the pits. He may have damage of some sort. Comes in.
Yeah, that's the championship leader in the pits there. He's not had a good start, and well, Abhi, I mean, all that 3-lap old tires has gone out of the window, and he's managed to save his race here because of the restart. But what a chaotic start there that was, like, and clean as well, but chaotic in a way where it was so jumbled around. As we see a Ferrari forcing his way through the pack and shoving the Merc of Lal's aside and saying, "I'm going through, stay behind me."
We do see one of the constructors who has lost out majorly in this opening period is Alpine, and I was just saying that Freeman's picked up another 5-second penalty, or was that another 3-second penalty, and now Lals has picked up a 3-second penalty. We're already seeing the track limit warnings. 3 seconds is the track limit. Yeah, 3 seconds is the track limit.
Yes,
penalties coming through. So just on the opening lap alone, drivers have racked up 3 warnings. So that just shows we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. It's going to be a regular occurrence, I think. When all the penalties are added up, that's going to be the final standings, and DRS is now enabled.
Crucially, Paris in the Aston Martin has broken the 1-second gap, so Abhi does not have DRS on him, and Rambo does, so, and he's using that to his advantage and closing in. As we see the Alpine of Freeman also boxing in, and I think that's an example of the commentators' curse in action there, as they were on for a good haul of points, and it seems it's all in the bin now.
I didn't even finish completing my statement about how Alpine had got a really bad start, and even it got worse for them after that. But anyway, Rambo not setting any purple sectors as of now, but he has gone 4 tenths faster as we see. Ooh, Paras hopping the curbs, and he's lost his front wing. Another race leader has jeopardized his race there. First it was Banat, now it was Paras, and what is well, he is ghosted through, but had he been an actual F1 driver, that is grounds for banning from the sport. Not across the racing line coming into sector 2. He's lost all semblance of front downforce, nothing helping keep that Aston Martin on track right now, as cars are skirting wide trying to avoid him. He's going to take out some of those boards there.
That car will be a board almost, because the front wing's completely chopped off. It's got no front downforce, and you need a really
He's chosen a terrible place to lose that front wing just at the beginning of sector 2, as Rambo makes the attack on Abhi to inherit the race lead. It was coming for a while now. He was looming in Abhi's mirrors for a period of 2 or 3 laps now, but he has made the move finally down into turn 1. We're going to be seeing a lot of action down there today, but Rambo quickly capitalizing on the change of lead and pouncing.
Absolutely, and we see the Ferrari of Jaggs in the softer compound chasing down the AlphaTauri of BK, who is on the medium tires. So the medium tires will be slower for a few laps here, but soon enough the wear will be factored in and the softs will start dying. But he's doing well to keep the soft runner behind him.
Even though we've got only 11 drivers on the track right now, we are seeing a variety of strategies opening up. We do see the top 6 of the top 7 drivers are currently on the main strategy, which will be the soft, medium, soft. But we see BK19 on that reverse strategy. He's on the mediums now, which will be he'll be swapping to either a set of softs. He will most probably be swapping to another set of softs, as Yash has retired. Yash? I believe that is Lals. He's standing in, I believe, for another driver. But Lals has also crashed out of this race, not seeing a safety car. And as I say that,
and the safety car's out. And we have a usual safety car.
Tell you what, had Abhi stayed on his if the original server had lasted and had Abhi stayed on his strategy of running 3 lap old soft, this would have played perfectly into his plan. So actually, big brain Abhi. We didn't see that coming at all. We eventually fathomed it, but he uh, practically sussed it out before any of us could. But
Absolutely, and it seems the Alfa Romeo of Rambo has gone for a set of hard, so I think he's going to be trying to take those tires till the end, but they will be crying for temperature at the safety car restart, and they're going to be at least 2 seconds off the pace of
Freeman
soft track.
coming in again. He had just come in on the previous lap for a new front wing and a set of hard tires. I think he's coming in to change the strategy up a bit, goes on the medium tires. He'll get at least 3 laps on these tires. So taking it from lap 8 to lap 36 is going to be a tall ask, but he does swap to a set of mediums. But I was talking about before the safety car came out about how there's a variety of strategies going on. We had Freeman at the back with hard tires, but now we have Rambo in the mix on the hard tires, and we had DWAJIN also briefly on the hard tires, but now, okay, no, he started on the mediums. My apologies. So we are seeing a variety of strategies, which means this won't be the final finishing order. We see Rambo pit for a new set of hards, which will, again, as you said, be crying for mercy during the safety car period, but also will be crying for mercy towards the end as there can be faster cars behind him, faster cars all around him.
Absolutely, and it's important that Abhi's chosen to stay out, which is interesting because you know what, those softs will still be faster than Rambo's fresh hards because the tires will be up to temperature at least. For the hards, he's going to have to do a lot of weaving to get the temperature back up.
So under idealistic scenarios, now Abhi and Monk get a clean run into turn 1 without threat from the likes of DWAJIN and Warhammer. Warhammer himself, who has a penalty, but I don't think that's just any penalty. I think he has a stop and go, which he has to serve the next couple of laps as well. So that's going to be that's going to see Warhammer tumble down the order a bit. But BK19, who also started on the medium tires, has now swapped out to a fresh set of red hot softs.
Yes, and Red Hot they will be at once he gets them to push because he will certainly be on the charge because he was in a good position before the safety car restart, so he's going to be a bit peeved about the safety car being out.
Although a big disappointment will be for the Alpine team, who sees one of their drivers at the tail end of the pack and also one of their drivers out of the race. Championship contender in Banat. He will not be pleased with that at all. We have seen the work ethic that Banat has been putting into the game and improving himself and consistently managing to remain at the front, and that will be a major sucker punch for him.
It's interesting to note that both times, till now in this Grand Prix, so far, the leader has crashed out. Banat on lap 1 and then Paras on lap 3 when he was leading. So
lap 6 in multiples of 3, we should be seeing something happening very soon. Lap 9 potentially.
If I were Abhi, I would be holding on to my luck cards right now and hoping everything goes fine because I'm noticing a pattern here. But it seems we're just waiting for Paras to catch back up the field, and he's stopped there, if I'm not wrong. Is the game still telling him to follow a delta because he was briefly stopped in the S section, but seems he's getting back up to speed now, and the safety car will continue for one more lap.
Oh, Paras has been caught very badly lacking if that is the case because he is quite far off from the pack and they have gone already, and Abhi has got a mega start on one, heading down to turn 1 on those burning red hot soft
Absolutely, and Rambo as well on the fresh hards is looking for a move down the inside of Monk, but Monk will have the more traction available for him at his disposal, but he does get the switchback. What an overtake from the Haas driver there, the Alpha driver there, sorry.
And we also see the Haas of DWAJIN also slipping in behind or ahead of Monk now, actually, as Monk loses out massively in that safety car restart. So they're all bunching up a bit, going through turn 5. Coming through the double right-hander of turn 6 and 7 into sector 2, they go. Not much overtaking action. We'll see the drivers at least hoping to be cautious in going not side by side, as we do see them filter single file.
Some debris there and a lot of squirmy rear ends as the tires are still getting up to temperature, especially the ones who are on the harder compound. And we see Warhammer going around the outside or trying to of BK, but BK giving no room for him at all there. And Warhammer, will he look down the inside? No, he does not. That was a good battle.
That was, and we're going to see a little more of that as well, as we see all the drivers still bunched up. DRS hasn't been activated yet. A lot of drivers clobbering that orange sausage curve coming through the stadium section. Round the final corner, we see Freeman's made up a couple of positions, still carrying a penalty. Has he dived into the pits again? No, that's another driver. Freeman does come across the line right on the back of, it seems like, Ace and Warhammer as they come barreling down the pit straight. Now would have been a bad time to go for a pit stop, which is what BK19 has done. But I think that
I think he might have picked up some damage, as we see Monk using the fresh, well, not fresh, but the softer compound as opposed to DWAJIN, and getting the move done, the horse driver.
We should see DRS kicking into action in a couple of laps here as well. So that should be another factor to take into consideration in all of these fights. But BK19 pitting onto a set of hard tires and comes out 15, nearly 16 seconds behind the rest of the pack. Actually, no, greater to be honest, because Paris is already 6 seconds off the pack. So it's going to be a pretty tall ask for BK to crack back into the podium places. But I mean, say nothing, claim nothing. Rambo picks up a time penalty. I mean, the track limit warnings are at this point just part and parcel of Mexico, so we will disregard those and count those up, tally those up towards the end.
Absolutely, everyone gets a warning here. But yeah, it seems the BK had picked up some damages. That's why we saw him run so wide at that S section. As
both those drivers smacked the outside wall coming through the final turn, it seemed like.
That's not what you want to be doing, but we see Warhammer using the fresh set of softs to possibly dive down the outside of the horse driver into the braking zone, braking just before the 100-meter board. He brakes a bit after that, and well, that's a very Verstappen-esque move as he swoops around the outside of the horse driver.
Definitely seeing the tire advantage coming to there. DWAJIN just not able to carry as much minimum apex speed as the Aston Martin driver, just getting a better run through turn one on the outside, as well as we see wheels clashing between DWAJIN and Freeman. Freeman now trying to cut through the field, reclaim some points for Alpine. All four wheels off the track. That is a brilliant overtake regardless of how you look at it. Maybe might have forced the issue a little bit there, but he does get past on that faster compound. Oh no,
yeah, the Alpine driver getting his elbows out, but he is on 5-lap younger medium tires. But still, that was a great battle they provided for us right now. But it seems that Abhi is not putting as much as I thought he would from Rambo, even though he's on the softer compound of tire. So it could be that tire wear is kicking in for the soft runners now.
I mean, we are coming to that period in which the soft tires do start to drop off. We see it around the 11th or 12th lap. The medium tires have a range of about 16 or 17 laps, and we see the hard tires obviously having greater range than that. But right now, the balls, we can't really say who the ball is in whose court, because everyone seems to be on varying strategies, varying age of tires, the two safety car periods, or we have one?
No, we've had one for now, but I reckon there are multiple more coming up with the amount of action we've been provided for in the span of these 10 laps.
I look forward to it with a lot of anticipation. We do see the two drivers have broken off from the rest of the pack. Abhi and Rambo. Abhi making brilliant use of those soft tires, has broken away from the rest of the pack, and Rambo following in close suit. Monk as well, and the other drivers are all still locked in a little DRS train from about P4 all the way back. Is still up for grabs, all the points on the table. Some of these drivers representing their teams alone, so
absolutely, as we see the Merc following really well the Haas, even with the dirty air counted for. I think the Haas may have picked up some wing damage, but that was some really good following, and he dives it down the inside of the Haas driver, shoving him aside, and that's a great move. A bit aggressive, but it's a great move.
One of my suspicions is that DWAJIN may be carrying a little bit of damage. Just seems to be losing one too many positions to be chalked off as.
Yeah, as he has dove into the pits right now for a probable front wing change, and probably going on to the hard tires and taking those till the end of the race. But if I were him, I would put on a new set of softs or mediums.
We do see right now Rambo and BK are the only two drivers on the reverse strategy going on the hard tires. They will be possibly staying till the end, but assuming we get another safety car in the last 7 or 8 laps, we should see them hopping onto a set of fresh softs. But we see a little bit of gap couple of gaps forming. If we can just go on board A7 Warhammer, I think he's mounting an attack very, very close behind the Aston Martin of Monk as they come through Sector 2. Not going to be many opportunities here, but I think the main straight is going to be his next best chance.
Absolutely, as you see a beautiful tracking shot, a helicopter shot of the car going through the S's. He's lost a bit of time there for the dirty air because that's where it's the high-speed section of the track. But he does do a purple sector, though I'm guessing that's a glitch on our telemetry. But yeah, it's going to be very hard for the cars to overtake through here once the tire wear and the fuel loads have been reduced.
We see our championship leaders Solo currently sitting in P8, sitting pretty on a set of medium tires. He should possibly extend that to about the 15 or 16. He should be able to take it further than that because he did pit during the safety car period. So he should get at least until the early 20. As we see Solo stationary. Commentators curse kicking in again. Not quite sure what happened there, but we saw he was traveling at full speed. Then he's just parked on the pit straight, and he has.
It seems it's been a glitch recorded before where one driver just gets, absolutely stalled for no reason whatsoever. Though I think he lost the rear end out of the last corner, but I'm not sure exactly as to what happened there. But speaking about what's happening, well, Monk is gonna get a move done on Rambo, it seems, with the 11 lap old softs. That's impressive.
Going to be a massive task for some of these drivers at the back to claw back some points. Now we do see some of the faster drivers just putting a little bit of time between themselves and the guys behind them. The intervals have disappeared for a second, but we can tell you that Abhi and Rambo are a considerable least. And I think Abhi has actually pulled away from the pack even more, while Rambo has dropped back a bit. Abhi at least has another 3 seconds in the bag on Rambo. So brilliant drive so far from the Red Bull driver.
Absolutely, he's really cementing his status in the tier, but it seems that Warhammer is closer to Monk now and he could be ramping up an overtake, but I don't think Monk has DRS in the car head. No, he does not. And do we see him dive down the inside? No, he backs out. Could he be preparing for an overtake onto the next straight as he adjusts his racing line there, as he saw Hamilton do in Brazil when he was following Max? But it seems he's a bit too far enough.
Might go for it. He doesn't go for it. He chooses against it.
Smart driving there. You don't want to be very reckless because any slight damage to any end plate will cost you heaps and heaps of time here in Mexico.
There's going to be a tough couple of laps now for those soft runners, especially Abhi and Monk. Those are the guys that are really basically playing for time. 3 laps probably under safety car were the ones that allowed them to run this long on the soft tires. They'll definitely be dropping back now, but it does remain to see how they plan out their strategy, because the wrong strategy called right now, the safety car period later on, may jeopardize the race. They could go for a set of hard tires, they could go for a set of mediums, but really does leave a lot on the table, so they have to plan their strategy perfectly as Abhi does come into the pits.
Yeah, and he goes for the medium tires as I thought, because
he's gone for another set of softs.
Oh, I'm sorry that he's gone for a soft tire. Then that's a very aggressive strategy he's going for. Probably soft, medium, soft. And see Warhammer finally making the move on the Aston Martin of Monk with the 5-lap fresher soft tires there. And he will be putting on a charge against Rambo now. But yeah, that's a very interesting strategy call from the Red Bull driver. He could be going on to a set of mediums at the end, but if I were a driver here in his position, I would put on a set of mediums now and then put the softs for the end to put on a fun push. But it seems it does not suit his driving style. But yeah,
it does. I think he is banking on another safety car lap so he can get a nice clean nice clean pit onto the nice clean stop onto the medium tires without losing much time. Because the last thing he wants now is to get on the medium tires now, lose pace to the guys swapping to the softs now from the mediums. So it's definitely a strategic mind game. It's 4D chess being played by all the drivers right now, as it's just a case of who pulls off the masterclass and who gets to go home with nothing in their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems Paras has picked up quite a few penalties here in Mexico, which is, I mean, I don't blame him. It's a very hard track to be consistent on in terms of track limits because the curbs aren't as serrated as they normally are in this game. So you can really abuse them, and which leads to a lot of drivers venturing a bit further to the left or right of the white line and getting a few track limit warnings. But it is what it is. As we see Monk, who's surprisingly keeping up with the Merc of Warhammer. But yeah.
Yep, definitely. We do see, yeah, Paras has been really lax with the track limits here. Just exceeding. He's got 3 times number of penalties as the next most penalized driver, which is shared by a couple of drivers actually, including the race leader right now, Rambo, who's in a comfortable position, I'd say, assuming he can make the strategy pay off and assuming there are no other safety car periods, then he really is in a strong position to capitalize on the mistakes that Banat and also Solo made earlier on in the race.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to know that Warhammer has a 5-second penalty, which is, if it's a 5-second, then he will have to serve that in the pits if he makes a pit stop. So maybe Monk is guessing on that, wagering on that fact, and that's why he's like not defend. He didn't defend his heart because he wants to like pull away because Warhammer will have a very slow stop. But
not only that, but also allowing Warhammer to get past gives him a little bit of DRS as well. So allows him to maybe pull out a little bit, especially if he's having to defend against Freeman, who's right on Monk's tail right now. Just 2 tenths separating the Alpine and the Aston Martin driver as Freeman does make the overtake coming down to turn 4, down the inside. Not much of a formality there. It was really a formality, if I'm honest. Coming through turns 6 and 7, the double right-hander, and Freeman now up into the podium positions. Pretty good drive from the Alpine driver. He has picked up a little bit in terms of penalties, but it's hard to believe that he was last. But the positions and the grid have been shuffled up so much after the safety car.
absolutely, and he's already caught up to Warhammer, which is pretty impressive. Like he's caught up half a second, and both I think that was team orders there where Paras was let past, but Freeman is showing some mega pace here as he's already following Warhammer closely behind.
I think in the past, I think a couple of the IRC members have noted that Freeman has the potential. I mean, he's always shown the potential. I think he's just not been that active in terms of esports. But now he's back and he's really flying right now as Warhammer pits, and he does serve his 5-second penalty. What tires does he go on to? I think he goes on to, that was a terrible camera angle to show the tires, but I think he goes on to a set of
softs, if I'm not wrong. No, a set of mediums.
That might be a good call, that those mediums will last him until at least lap 30 or 31. So he definitely have to make one more stop. So he is on the 2-stop strategy. But I'm a little curious about how the hard runners are currently going. Where are they currently on track? And we do see Rambo and BK19. BK still in at the tail end of the grid on those hard tires, not able to benefit from them. But now is when he might come into it a little bit.
Absolutely, but those hards will be crying by the end of the race. But it's important to know that Jaggs is following Abhi really closely, even though he's got a tire disadvantage. As Abhi is getting very keen on track limits there as he goes out wide. But I think Abhi just got the move done, and we might have missed it. And he's pulling away a lot. Yeah, thanks for clarifying that, Evil Talk. And yeah, we can visually see the fresh tires, like, just pulling away as Abhi is using the fresh grip from the softs. And Warhammer finds himself behind Monk again.
Warhammer currently finding himself in a little bit of traffic. He is on those fresh medium tires, although Monk ahead of him is also on the fresh medium tires. But ahead of them, a couple of drivers are diving into the pits. We see Solo, championship leader, comes into the pits. I think this is his 3rd pit stop of the race. Comes into the pits for another set of medium tires, which will again take him somewhere close to lap 31, 32. Does he choose to extend it all the way till the end? That will be a case of great tire maintenance, as we do see the Ferrari driver picking up another penalty there. Oh, it's Paras picked up a 3-second. Okay, I think he also picked up a 3-second time penalty for further.
Another one to add to a collection of time penalties he's been getting this race. But Yeah, Abhi is definitely on the charge, and it's interesting to note that Abhi is one of the few drivers who's kept it clean and doesn't have any penalties. So I'm guessing he will be running away with this win.
I think before I think we should stop talking about his penalties, because then the commentator's curse kicks in and he picks up 6 seconds in the matter of 2 laps. So we'll talk about some other drivers. As I was talking about that, Warhammer was keeping it clean until there, but has picked up his first 3 second time penalty.
So it's mostly you, isn't it? Then.
Yes, I will claim all credit and all punishment for that. But we do see Paras really racking up the penalty now. 21 seconds. As it stands now, he will drop. If the race finished now, he will drop behind Monk. So he needs to be careful with those
I
track
think
limits.
dropping to the back of the grid is least of his concerns because a few more and he will get disqualified because I think 30 seconds is the limit. So I would be like, just ease it a bit for now.
Now would be a good time to stay within those track limits, my friend.
Absolutely. And it seems Warhammer is clinging to the back of the Aston Martin, but not being able to find a way through, even though they're on the same set of tires and same equally worn tires as well.
I think after 13 laps, you finally see those hard tires coming into their own, because Rambo is slowly starting to edge out an advantage over Freeman, who was closing in. But those medium tires are now on the verge of dropping off. About 16 laps is what we expect the life of the medium tires to be. So we should see Freeman diving into the pits anytime soon. He has caught a little bit to the back of Rambo at the front of the pack, but we see a battle now starting between Abhi on those fresh soft tires against Paras on the used 14 lap old mediums. This should be a fairly mundane task for Abhi as he flies past, didn't even have to dive up the inside into turn one, already got the move done well.
Yeah, he would like that before the braking zone, so no shenanigans into turn one there. But yeah, it's it's all what we all expected. Abhi making his way through the pack, and it seems that I think Jaggs has gone in for another stop to a fresh set of mediums, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Thatcher
And
taking
Warhammer, yeah,
Warhammer getting a little touchy-feely with Monk there coming through turn one, I believe. Yes, it is turn one. He's got the jump on him and he's away. Already 7/10 between the two drivers. They've only just come out of turn three. There's already a 7/10 gap between them.
well, ignoring the 7/10s, it's important to note that Paras has a free pit stop behind him, but I think the 21 seconds he's got, if he can maintain that gap he's got right now, which I highly doubt he will, but he should be fine for P4. So that's a huge gap, which is, I'm surprised, because there was a safety car at lap 5, so it's pretty impressive there. Well, ACL, it seems the commentator's curse is back at it again as we see Abhi getting a wing change.
Not quite the penalty that he would have liked. Maybe he would have taken the 3 seconds for track limits, but this is a much bigger penalty. But he will have a nice clean slate, not only in terms of tires, but also in terms of aero. As he comes out on a fresh set of medium tires, he will drop down to P7 after holding the race lead for a couple of laps. As Monk makes a move on A7, Warhammer taking back the position. Warhammer did get the position through the same section in the last lap, but he managed to hang within DRS, and there's contact in the background there between the Red Bull Works team and the Red Bull sister team as BK19 in your AlphaTauri team. Let's say I think you're a bit more attached to them than I am, Moto, driving for them in Tier 1, but BK has been spun around, and that will be something for the stewards to look at later, but he does drop back a little more.
Absolutely, he's having a horror show, considering that he got a great start on those set of mediums, avoiding all the lap 1 chaos, but yeah, it is what it is. And Warhammer is making his way through the Sector 2, and he's, again, well, these two just can't be separated all race long, can they? Warhammer and Monk.
Yep, they constantly seem to be right within each other, although one is currently on very low ERS, won't be able to, or using most of his ERS to catch up to Monk is A7 Warhammer. He will have the DRS as well. He is within a second of him. Ooh, just slipped out of the second range, but he does get DRS anyway. using all that ERS, all that DRS to keep up with Monk, who's absolutely flying right now. The gap hasn't come down as much as what I thought it would. It's only come down by about 3 or 4 tenths. I expected a lot more. I expected them to be side by side.
Yeah, could be some setup implications there, as Monk is going for a low down for setup, which is why as they're on equal tires right now, so I don't think tire wear has anything to do with it. Well, that is interesting to note. It seems Warhammer is asking a bit too much from his tires then, especially in Sector 3. But yeah, it could be that Sector 3 is where you really need to be sticking close to the driver behind, because that last corner is just, you get washed with dirty airs. It's really hard to, yeah.
Definitely, and you could also think of it from the other perspective that Warhammer has spent most of the time behind Monk under dirty air, so he's going to be pushing those mediums a lot more than Monk, who's pushing them in free air, having
that
to
is
yes, that as well.
That is true. And wow, he gets very close to Monk there, does Warhammer, because he absolutely sent it into that last corner, and he's out of ERS, it seems, and it could be Monk could be on higher ERS, but he doesn't need any because he's got the move done before the braking zone.
Monk just sitting easy on 20%, I think, no, 20 or 12% ERS, but Abhi is also right behind him on a fresh set of medium tires. He's joined in this fight. He's seen an opportunity, and Monk might be about to lose 2 positions.
And he's on it. He's on it from the get-go. He's not wasting any time. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think it's the Ferrari of Jaggs who has retired there.
Yep, this could be another safety car, and it is another safety car period, and this is when drivers have to make the call. 13 laps left in the race. Surely we see most of the upper half of the field, especially Rambo and Paras, who get a free pit stop. This will be music to their ears right now, as they'll essentially get to pit onto softs without any kind of time penalty whatsoever.
Absolutely, but it's interesting to note that the safety car is going to bunch up the grid again, so any hope they had of pulling out a gap to mitigate that time penalty which they got has been reduced as well. So it's a double-edged sword, basically, the safety car.
I think it'll be a double-edged sword for Paras, who is carrying quite a few penalties.
I think the sword is just in his chest then. It's not even like...
I think he had to fall on his own sword right there. But and A7 Warhammer, this is the second time this race that he has... that was for speeding under pit lane? Or speeding under safety car, my apologies.
He's probably got Jeff muted. I don't blame him. I have kept him muted as well, because
Jeff is an annoying bastard who we don't need to keep hearing. But
we do need him to remind us for the Delta, as we just saw that.
He is also a double-edged sword, unfortunately. Unfortunately. But yeah, that will be the second time that he's had to drive through the pit lane, A7 Warhammer. He also had a stop and go earlier in the race.
And he's picked up another one. He's picked up a 3-second during safety car period. That's a first.
That's new.
Well, another one for the record books, but in not a good way, I guess.
I think there's a competition here between A7 Warhammer and Paras to see who can crack up more penalties or more time under penalties, because A7 may not have the same in terms of penalties, but he served many more drive-throughs.
Lads are like, screw racing, let's just see who can get the most penalties. You're on.
I mean, around Mexico, it's probably more exciting to rack up more penalties than to or get as close to 30 seconds as possible without getting DSQ'd, rather than actually racing with all the DRS trains that form here.
DSQ 100% speed run.
Yes. Humor aside, though, with 12 laps left to go, the strategies really do come into their own. We see a number of drivers on used tires. I think out of all of them, Warhammer, coincidentally the man in the worst position right now in terms of penalties, is also on probably the most compromised set of tires, 7-lap old mediums that he has to carry for another 12 laps. So that will be 19 laps on a set of medium tires. He's asking a lot of those medium content tires.
That is right, and he can't serve his drive-through till the safety car is over, because it defeats the purpose of a drive-through, because that disadvantage is mitigated. But it's interesting to note that Abhi is the only one on the currently racing on the grid, who doesn't have a time penalty. So I think he can just take it easy, Or what do you think he's going to do?
I've just seen some news flash up on my screen, on my phone rather. I probably shouldn't be looking at that. Manchester United has just been thrashed 4-1. We'll put that aside for now. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting strategic masterclass from all of the drivers because they've pretty much all got a clean slate now. That safety car has pretty much wiped any kind of tire advantage clean.
Wait, who were you guys playing today?
Let's not go into the details. Let's not go into the details any more, and I'll be depressed. I mean, watching Manchester United is already pretty depressing right now. But let's not talk about the football. Let's talk about the racing, and we do have the safety car coming in this lap. Good to see that we haven't seen any major safety car bugs or glitches happen in this race. Touch wood.
Let's not mention that again. But it seems everyone's caught up and no more cars left behind. As Paras showed us last time, what happens when you don't stick to the delta and get left behind. But it's integral that Rambo's on a fresh set of softs and Freeman's already going on the charge, and so is Paras. And the three wide.
Rambo is completely bamboozled Freeman there. He went sped up. Freeman sped up.
It's three wide again.
Three wide again. It's going to be 4 wide in a second. It is 3 wide in the background. 4 sets of battles going on simultaneously through turn 1, coming through turn 2. Everyone's pretty much still clean. No, someone has been spun around. It is DWAJIN, not a retirement though. I don't think he's picked up much in the way of damage either, but the battles are still popping off here as we come down to turn 4. There's contact, but they've touched moto, they've touched, but they've kept it clean and they've got through without spinning each other around. Abhi on those medium tires trying to get a jump on all the soft runners who are still on a little bit of cold tires. Rambo has pulled away 1.6 seconds within just a couple of sectors, and Freeman really caught out cold but has managed to hold off Paras at least until now, who lines up the overtake. Fairly mundane, fairly routine.
That's visually, the soft tires at work there, using all the grip offered to him to get a pretty clean pass from the Alpine driver there. But what a restart by Rambo there. He's absolutely, as you said, he's bamboozled everyone behind him, man. Run away with this restart. And we see Warhammer entering the pits to serve his drive-through as well.
Warhammer, why, man, why?
I think he's winning the battle between him and Paras for most penalties right now. Is it equal? I'm not sure.
I've stopped keeping score, but we'll have a look a little bit towards the end of the race. Another 9 laps of racing left to go, and right now, and yes, A7 Warhammer was on the most compromised strategy, and he probably had to make a change there. So has he come out of the pits? What has he changed in that pit win? Did he pit?
No, he had to serve his drive-through, and he's picked up 5 seconds as well. So if he's going to pit again, he's going to be stalled for 5 seconds again.
It's not going to be a fun evening for A7 in retrospect after participating in the race today. Currently BK19 15 seconds behind him, but may just have a chance of sneaking ahead, assuming he doesn't assuming Warhammer gets unlucky with any more penalties.
Absolutely, and it seems that Abhi's I think he's made the right decision, because the softs will be crying by the end of lap 32-ish. So all he has to do is just wait for the soft runners to make their pit stops.
I think Rambo and Paras may go all the way till the end on the set of softs that they have put on right now. I think with 3 laps on them and another 8 laps, 11 laps isn't double jeopardy as of yet. So I think their tires, assuming they don't keep pushing too hard, as Paras just pushes too hard, as long as they don't push too hard on these sets of softs, as long as they drive a little bit more conservatively, it's just a matter of keeping those soft tires within the range. If they do push too hard, and you see Freeman and Abhi slowly closing in, and Freeman has, I think, overtaken Abhi again. Or has Freeman always remained in P3?
I think, no, Freeman was always in P3, yeah. Abhi was really conservative on the start there, as he did not want to lose his wing. and or like get caught up in anything, but he will be getting ready to pounce on the soft runners in a few laps time. That's for sure.
Definitely. It is really hotting up in terms of strategies. We have 2 safety car periods, each one bringing their own forms of jeopardy for all the drivers. We've seen a penalty contest. We've seen how many sets of tires can we get through in one race. We really have seen it all. As we see, Abhi finally gets his first penalty of the race. I didn't want to jinx him earlier, but yes.
A new challenger appears. Can we go on to the penalties and see if Rambo and Abhi have the same seconds? Well, no, it seems Rambo's 9 seconds worth of penalties. That is interesting because if he finished this way, it's what, 4.2. It's around 7 seconds ish, isn't it? No, it's around 10 seconds.
Yeah, it is going to be fine margins.
Yes.
But Paras is currently winning the penalty debate as he's currently on 19 seconds and A7 Warhammer is on 11.
Interesting. That's well, yeah, Paras really well, he's, if I'm not wrong, has he lost 3 seconds of penalties? Because he was at 21, wasn't he?
Yeah, he served a 5-second stop during his pit stop, so it's got from 24 to 19.
Oh, it's right. Makes sense.
But it's going to be important for Paras more than Rambo to get clear of Freeman and Abhi because he's got those 19 seconds of penalties that are yet to be applied. That will be applied when they cross the finish line at the end of the race. But right now, it's more important for Paras to push as hard as possible and open up the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Though I don't think, I mean, even if you put Jarno Opmuir in that car, I don't think 21 seconds is going to be, well, forget about easy, but a possible task as Warhammer goes into the pits to serve his, well, he's being very, very conservative on pit entry there, stopping before the white line. But he's getting his penalty served and he's going on to a fresh set of softs, though. I think the best bet for him is fastest lap at offer, but yeah, it's not a good day in the office with the Merc driver there.
He was in reverse briefly as well, so planning on going backwards in the pit lane. But I'll use this opportunity to pass on the baton to SD, who has joined us in the commentary box, and I'm sure we can get him up to speed, Moto.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah.
Yep. How's it going? I think I caught up to the race. I was just watching it back, and yeah, looks like it was a very interesting race. We saw, I think, a couple of safety cars and people crashing. I think Banat crashed out in the first lap. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think he just lost it at the S section, but yeah, it seems it's been a pretty interesting race. We got a couple of safety cars and lots of time penalties, but I think the gaps have equalized right now, so not much going on, but yeah.
Yep, see some snake trails, snake trails there. As I'm not sure what is going on here. Is there a safety car right now? Because
well,
not sure what is going. Why
there is a yellow flag, but yeah, they were going really slowly there.
Yep, gap seems to be completely broken. Is it because of Paras? Okay, these guys might be getting lapped soon. I think leaders are just exiting that section. Yep, there you go. Just saw the glimpse of them at the back.
Yeah.
Yep, interesting what these guys are doing at the back. But yeah, I think Rambo has driven a brilliant race, if I'm not wrong. Pitting out really hard.
Though Rambo does have that 9 seconds looming over him, but yeah, he's driven very consistently, and I think Abhi's the one with the fewest seconds worth of time penalties, so he could be looking to go up the order.
Ooh, Paras with that 19 seconds is not going to be lighting up the screen.
Yeah, Paras and Warhammer were having a sort of a penalty face-off and seeing who's going to get the most penalties, because they were both picking up quite a few penalties today.
Yep, I think at one point I remember seeing that Paras was having 21 seconds of penalty. So yeah, I think so maybe one of those bits. But yeah, good show from Freeman here today.
Yeah, Freeman has been very consistent and very clean as well, staying out of trouble. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah, definitely. He's at least trying to negate some of the damage done while one crashed out in the first lap. But yeah, so I would like to take the opportunity to tell whoever is watching, sorry for the delays. There were some technical difficulties, but yeah, I hope that you guys at least got a race to watch after maybe waiting for more than 20 minutes. So yep, I think it was a quite decent race as Paras gets another 3 seconds added to his penalties. Definitely, we hope that he doesn't get disqualified. I don't think he'll get more than 30 though. I don't want to jinx anyone as Freeman gets another 9.
So if it finishes in this order, I think Abhi's a bit too far back to win the race, but yeah, it's going to be Rambo who's going to win the race if
Yep.
unless Abhi is going to claw his
If Rambo
gap.
gets one more 9, one more 3 seconds, it's going to be close, definitely.
Yes, it'll be very close then. But Abhi needs to put on a charge now. I think the soft runners are on quite worn tires. If you could just go on board Rambo and see his tire wear. Yeah, you can see the rear tire, the rear left tire in specific is very worn. But
yep, I think these guys will be facing very degraded tires, and I think anyway, doing more than 11 laps of tires is soft tires, even though fresh, it's pretty difficult to manage at the end because you have to kind of understeer every single corner. And that section does not help you in any way because it gives you warnings if you just go wide, and it's very difficult to keep the car on track. So
yeah, the S section is where you like pick up most of the penalties on this track because it's like you can mount the curb so aggressively there, so it gives the driver the incentive to like, okay, let's exceed a bit more and then you get a penalty. So
yep, 1.7 seconds gap between the top two. I think even though Paris has 22 seconds of penalties, I think he will take immense pride in at least keep being the first driver to cross the line, even though he will be demoted down because the amount of penalties that he has. I think he'll be happy with at least finishing ahead of him. So
yes, absolutely. And it seems the gaps aren't really coming down that much, sorry. And I think Abhi will finish P2 if it stays like this.
yep. Who do you think did the best job tonight? I cannot give you a comment because I was not there completely. But who do you think was the driver of the day?
Well, I think it's got to be Rambo, isn't it? Because he's been like staying out of trouble, and he was on the back foot at the start because he pit for hards after the first safety car, so he was very off pace. But he kept it together, and he got a fresh new set of softs for the second one, and he's just been at
he
it.
made 4 positions.
Yeah, he's made 4 positions from the start as well. Abhi also was looking to had a really good strong drive, but I think he picked up some front wing damage, so he had to make an extra stop. But Freeman has also been really clean. It's I think Rambo and Freeman both have been exceptional today.
Yep, definitely. I think it's one of the tougher decisions to make for us commentators, but the viewers out
We'll
there,
let the game decide it for us.
and the viewers out there, please put in your driver of the day.
Yes, absolutely.
We will have a look at the chat and see who you guys think. Whoever was watching, the loyal fans, just check who is the driver of the day from the votes from the viewers. So yeah, we'll have a look at the end of the race. Yeah, we do have if I'm not wrong, we do have Jaggs. It was his first race tonight. How did he do, moto, for you? Because I think he crashed out.
Yeah, he crashed out sadly, but he was doing quite well. Like he could follow the cars very well, and he was pretty clean as well. But I think he just lost the rear end out of the S section it was, so maybe it was sector 1. Not sure, but as far as venturing, wow, those are some interesting lines.
I do not think he cares at all right now in terms of penalties. He just wants to get close to Rambo as much as possible.
Man's doing a no rule challenge, Mexico.
Yep, he has to be careful though, because even though he does not want to get too many penalties, because it might demote him even below top 5. So
yeah, that is interesting. Yes, but I highly doubt he knows the gaps behind him, and he's just chilling right now and waiting for the game to take over and demote him. How many ever places it will demote him after the penalties are applied. But it seems Abhi's clawed a little bit on Freeman, and the gap's down to 1.1 as we go on to the final lap, as Rambo is on the final lap. But Abhi, I think, he won't be getting DRS on the back straight, so I think it will finish in this order unless we see some last lap shenanigans from the leaders of the podium places. But yeah,
Oh my god, that's a very colorful line there. Definitely does
Some
not care.
NASCAR lines there. I think Paras should do some NASCAR. He'll like the track limits, how lenient they are over
The
there.
interesting part is the game does not give you, because ideally you lose time then, because you're not taking the shortest line, the exit. But it does help you not get a warning. So in
No,
that
but
way,
you're
it's kind
still
of
getting on the
better.
power earlier, right? So I think it might have been a warning. I'm not sure. Because you're
Depends.
using all the track on the exit, so.
Yep, I think the leaders are on the final sector, if I'm not wrong. So let's hop on board. Oh my!
Oh,
What just happened there?
I think Paras. I think Paras has
that's-
just given up and, well, crashed into the wall there because I don't think there was any car near him.
Oh
But
my god, that was not that shouldn't have been. I think Rambo crosses the line in P1. Very good race from him.
yes, but let's see the penalties after being applied. If I think Rambo has pulled out a substantial gap and maintained that P1.
Yep.
As I think Abhi is going to get P2, so it's what a drive by the Alfa Romeo there, who's controlled the race ever since the first safety car. He's been like at it, and it's a great drive from the Alfa Romeo driver there.
Yep. I think I don't know the exact intentions behind Paras. It might be just he's tried to send one last time on Rambo, a move on Rambo, a late ditch move. But I think if he did it intentionally, there was no need, because I think he would have still finished within the top 5.
I mean, the move, it doesn't make sense for him to send it because he's anyways not going to finish in front of him.
Yeah.
As BK is doing some donuts for the crowd.
That was really sad to see Paras go there, because after doing 36 laps, you do not want to basically even crash out, because you have basically wasted your last half of 1 hour-ish. That's all right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We'll move on. But yeah, that's your top 5 right now. BK's car is kind of lagging all along.
Yeah, I think he is on the controller, and this is well, I mean, the first sector and the last sector is very controller friendly, but in sector 2 you lose heaps and heaps of time for the section as he dives into the pits, surprisingly. Wait, I think he was a lap down, or no, he's just driven into the pits for just cause, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's your Mexican GP done for tier 2. We'll get the podium finishers and have a chat with them after the race is done. Just give us a couple of minutes while they join.
Yes, absolutely. It seems the game has given DWAJIN the driver of the day, but we would like to hear your comments, your thoughts, and please put down who you think the driver of the day was for tonight's race. And yeah, that was a good one. Action all through around. It was pretty fun to watch, but I think the gaps equalized towards the end of the race. But yeah, your your finishers for tonight are, so Rambo takes the win in the Alfa Romeo, Freeman in the Alpine in P2, and then Monk rounding off the podium in his Aston Martin in P3. Abhi in P5, DWAJIN in P6, and looking at the penalties for the race, as Evil Doc has just scrolled through a lot of warnings there.
$20 seconds for what?
20 seconds for ignoring yellow flag.
Wait. I think there was a glitch in the game. There was an issue with the game itself. I'm not sure.
That's interesting. That's one for the stewards to have a look at, but on our screens it seems
I'll just
Abhi
get
had.
Abhi here. I'll just get Abhi here. We'll have
We'll have the podium finishes in the com box shortly.
Yep, I'll have a chat with we'll have a chat with Abhi. But
Yeah.
Sadly, we will not be able to have Rambo with us. He has to leave urgently for urgent work. So I guess we'll have the other two joining us. So let's start with our P3 finisher, Monk. Not Monk is not, sorry, Freeman as of now. What we saw without the 20 seconds of penalties. Freeman, how was the race? How was the race start?
Good race.
Just tell us.
Race start was bad. I lost like 2-3 positions in the race start. But yeah, in the end, made up for it. It could have been a win if it wasn't for the second safety car. Everything was on track for me, but yeah, that second safety car messed it up for me. Otherwise, it was all good. Still got a podium. So yeah.
That's really good to hear. What happened with your teammate, if you would like to tell us? Because I'm sure, I think you were just close by with him.
Yeah, I think he just lost control in sector 2, I think. On the SS, he just lost control on the exit and just went into the wall.
All right, that's really sad to see. Yep, that's I think that's it from my side. Moto, you have anything to ask Freeman?
Yeah, Freeman, congrats on the podium first. But
Thanks.
in the race, yeah, we saw you having a really great battle with one of the cars. I think I've forgotten which one it was, but I think if you would remember, you're going side by side for quite a couple of corners.
I think it was the Red Bull of Abhi, if I'm not wrong, for
Yeah, I
the first
think
few
it
parts
was.
of the lap.
Yes, yeah. And so I think, like, talk us through that battle. Like, how was it?
It was only for like a couple of corners, because after that I think I got pushed off of the track. Not 100% sure. I need to look at the footage for that. But yeah.
That's interesting. I think Abhi had picked up some damage, so I think he ran. It was during the S's, right? So I think he
Yeah.
ran you wide. Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun battle to watch, and yeah.
Yep, that was a very fun battle to watch. I think we have Abhi here with us. I'm not sure why the game tells you that you're P4, because I think once everyone crossed the line, it was supposed to be you in P2. Abhi, can you tell us how did you pick up the 20 seconds at the end of the race? Are you aware of any penalties that you could have picked up?
To be very honest, throughout the race, there were no penalties given to me. And this kind of a glitch that happened in the Azerbaijan race as well, where I'd crossed the line in P1, but I got moved to P3 for God knows why. So I don't know if it's my game glitch or what's the issue with that, but it happened before, and I was surprised to see that I moved down to 4th. You know, I just had 3 seconds of penalties. So
Yeah, I think we also saw that in the game, that throughout the entire race at the end as well, we just had 3 seconds. I'm just curious, did you disconnect in the race by any chance? Did you disconnect and reconnect?
No, not even once.
Really interesting, because
yeah, because till the end of the race, till the end of the race, you know, like I could see on my brother was watching the stream actually, and he could see that I finished in P2 after, you know, I crossed Freeman due to his 6-second penalty. It showed I finished in P2, and I think after everyone crossed, it just went down to P4. So I don't know what happened there.
So we have noticed something, that in the game, if you disconnect and reconnect, it just gives you penalty. It just gives you additional time. It just adds time on your race time. So that was my target of asking you if you have disconnected and reconnected or not. But yeah, it's really interesting. No. We will report this incident, or maybe we'll ask you to report this incident to the stewards, so that your 20 seconds can be removed. Other than that, I think that was a very good race for me. I think kept it pretty clean. Getting just 3 seconds from 3 seconds of penalties in the entirety of the race is really impressive, I think. So yeah, had a good race, and hope to see you in the next round. Moto, you have any questions for a P2 finisher?
Yeah, I mean, well, congrats on the probable podium. The stewards will definitely have a look at that. But yeah, I mean, you I think picked up some front wing damage in the middle part, which caused you to make an extra stop. So could you like run us through as to how that occurred?
Yeah, so what happened was the damage happened while I was entering the pits, and when I was gonna go for my medium tires for the last stint.
So you clipped the inside wall.
Yes, I hit the inside wall, and I think the right side of my wing just, you know, it was still green but light green. So but you know how they are, they switched it on their own, and I think it benefited me. I didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah, so, I mean, you don't want to lose any downforce on Mexico, but
right, and I could see that the other drivers had penalties, so I'm like, you know, maybe it's not that bad, even if it's a few seconds extra. So that's what happened, and other than that, I just tried to keep it clean. There was some small battles. I had one with Warhammer where he completely pushed me off the track. He didn't give me space, but it's fine. I was just glad, you know, with the race, and I just hope that this whole penalty thing gets rectified.
Yeah, I mean, the stewards will definitely have a look, but I think the front wing change might have costed you the win, because Rambo was on 9 seconds of penalties, and you must have lost around 8 seconds extra because of the front wing change.
Yes.
So
exactly. Yeah.
In retrospect, it kind of hampered your result, but great race nonetheless. Very well managed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I think those are your podium finishes. Yeah, those are your podium finishes for tonight's race, and I think that's it for tonight. And